So, we must say hello to you, Nick. And the Mr Loophole thing, of course, is about your, I guess, incredible ability to find ways of getting famous people off the hook when they are charged with driving offences.
Using the law, whatever suits the law, using it, applying it, and then, of course, all I do is I put forward an argument and someone decides whether they agree with that argument or not. And what happened is the press dubbed me Mr Loophole, and I'll be honest with you, I hated it because to me...
Oh, you love it.
To me, it's something devious, it's underhand, it's everything I'm actually not. And I ended up trademarking it, which sounds a slight contradiction.
Well, exactly.
But because I read an article about a local Mr Loophole's won his case, and I knew this chap, and it was the first case he won, I thought. And then I suddenly realised, actually, I need this for me. I've worked very hard for this, so I'm having it. So I went about trademarking it, and it's good because most people know Mr Loophole, very few know Mr Nick Freeman. So I keep my work life over there, and
so a client comes to you and says, "Look, we're talking about speeding later. I'm being done for going 90.
Yep.
In a 60.
Yep.
What are my options? What sort of loophole could I use? The classic would be, I was wearing beach shoes and one got stuck on the accelerator.
You'd probably be done for driving dangerously. That's your responsibility.
What would you suggest in that situation?
I certainly wouldn't be volunteering that's what we were doing.
You wouldn't?
Absolutely.
Oh, I assume you suggest the defences.
I take their instructions, and when I take their instructions, I decide whether there's a defence or not. And
right.
on many occasions, I don't need the client at all because there's certain things that the prosecution need to do to prove their case. And if they don't have all their ducks in order, they can't prove their case beyond.
So you don't say to the client, right, we need to get a story here.
That's perverting the course of justice.
OK, Yasmin, how about that? It's straightforward.
I love his lawyery talk. I love it, and I don't trust it one bit.
Thank you. No offence.
But isn't there something problematic that rich people who can afford to pay you presumably very high fees can get away with stuff that ordinary people would never be able to because they can't afford you?
Well, there are many...
Do you do any pro bono?
Yes, I do. Mm-hmm. I do pro bono. I did set up a firm, actually, to deal with people who couldn't afford the fees that we charge. And there are many lawyers who do my sort of work who charge a lot more than me. Many people are very surprised with the modest level of our fees. OK, so...
But ordinary people couldn't afford it.
Yes,
so...
of course they can. Absolutely.
I doubt it.
Absolutely they can.
But it is problematic, isn't it? If you've got the money, you can get off.
You don't want to believe what you read in the press. And there are thousands of lawyers out there. So it's everyone's choice to decide who they want to represent them.
I'm going to ask you a little question, Yasmin. OK, we've got a little test for you because we've got 3 examples of Nick Freeman's, Mr Loophole's famous cases. OK, 3 famous people who've got off. So, first one here, you'll recognise Yasmin as Alex Ferguson, the former Manchester United manager. In 1999, he was driving on the hard shoulder, apparently to undertake traffic on a motorway. These are 3 defences he might have run. Only one of them was true, OK? He did get off. He said, I was upset by a family argument. That's the first one. He said, I thought I was on a smart motorway where you can use the hard shoulder. The third one, I had diarrhoea. Which one did he use?
I don't know, but I think the third.
Nick?
Why do you think that?
I don't know. It makes most sense to me.
You should have been a lawyer. It provides a complete defence. It was a medical emergency. And the interesting thing about it was he'd had it previously,
right,
but thought he'd recovered. Had he not recovered, he wouldn't have been able to avail that defence to himself because he should have known that he still had the problem. But he actually thought the problem had stopped. There was a doctor that corroborated his account, that had treated him for it. And at the end of the day, the magistrates, Bury magistrates, they decided, they heard the evidence and accepted it.
There we are. OK, I had diarrhoea, worked. Famously not guilty, also Jimmy Carr, the comedian. I'll give you 3 options here, Yasmin. You did well with that one. He was done in 2009 for mobile phone use at the wheel, which is normally very serious. It's a 6-point offence. He said, I was only using the phone to dictate a voice note. Was it that? Did he say I was framed by the cops? Or did he say I had to answer the phone because it was urgent medical news?
I think I've read this one, so I think it was number 1.
Wow, you're good. It was number 1, wasn't it?
He was actually recording a joke. It was a joke.
Now, you're
His
not
defence
allowed to
wasn't-
do that.
his-
They've changed the law, haven't they?
They have. They've changed it. Yeah. It wasn't an interactive communication, which is what it needed to be at that time. The law's changed this year.
Yeah, because
I think about April this year it changed.
I didn't even know. Now, it's a classic loophole here. I did not know that you could use your phone to record a voice note, but not to make a call.
You can, but if you were doing that and were involved in an accident or something happened,
Yeah.
then of course you're breaking the law and you'd have to face the full consequences. So it's a bit like using your phone handheld and hand-free. If you're using it handheld, that's breaking the law. If you're using it hands-free, on the face of it, you're not. But if you're involved in an accident, it's exactly the same level of distraction and you'll have the full force of law against you.
Is that right?
Absolutely.
So hands-free phones, it's best not to use them at all?
Absolutely. It's as dangerous as drink driving.
So what about people who...
You're four times more likely to have an accident.
Yeah, sure. What about people then who just routinely have the cradle in the front of their car and they've got Google Maps up or whatever?
Well, sat-nav, it's a big distraction. The problem is, it's OK until it goes wrong. And when it goes wrong, then whatever you're doing becomes relevant. It becomes probative and you do have a problem.
Wow. OK, thank you. Another one. Last one for you. Here we are, Yasmin. Famous face again, David Beckham, famously not guilty. What did he do? 1999, more than 20 years ago. Driving a Ferrari at 76 miles an hour when he should have been going no more than 50. You think he's got to be busted. There's no dispute about the speed. That's the crucial thing. Did he say I was being chased by the press? Did he say I was late for a football game? Or did he say, here's the one we tried earlier, my accelerator was jammed under my flip-flop?
I think it's number 3.
Now, it's me who should have been a lawyer. Because I made that one up.
Ah, OK.
That wouldn't work, no. What happened there, Nick?
Well, he was being chased by the pap, so he argued duress of circumstance. So in other words, he felt that he needed to accelerate to get away because this Paps was driving so close to him that it could have caused a serious accident. And the judge found as a fact that he was being chased, but he didn't say that death or serious injury was a necessary consequence. So in fact, he remained convicted, but the judge said there were special reasons for no punishment. So the magistrates gave him an 8-month ban. That was overturned. He got no penalty.
When you've heard this explanation from the lawyer, are you more satisfied that he's doing a good job?
Because I still think that if you've got the money, you get off.
So,
sorry.
But it's the same facts. I mean, why should he be disadvantaged because of the depth of his pocket? Why shouldn't
But how many people in any hour of any day go through this and just don't have somebody like you, wonderfully intelligent, competent, to get them off?
Are you seriously suggesting that if your pocket is of a certain depth, you cannot avail the same law that applies to anybody else? Is that your argument?
Obviously, people can't use you.
So we have different sets of law. We have a
I
law
think there is
a
a
law
way
dependent
that the
upon the
law
depth of
I
your
guess
pocket.
in a way we do. I guess we do have different. But I mean, I suppose that's in the nature of our society, isn't it? If you've got more money, you buy a better lawyer. It may not be fair. It may not be your fault either, actually. Well,